Hello there, and welcome to Sleepy Science Channel. I'm so glad you found your way here tonight, to this quiet little corner of the night where nothing is required of you at all. Maybe you've had one of those long, heavy days, the kind that leaves your shoulders tired and your mind still humming long after the lights go down. Or maybe you're the other kind of listener, the curious one, the sort of person who would rather drift off wondering about distant worlds than lie there counting sheep. Either way, you belong here. There's room for both of you tonight. And here's the gentle truth of it. There's nothing you need to do now. You don't have to follow along. You don't have to remember a single word. You don't even have to stay awake. Just let your body settle into the mattress. Let your breathing slow. Let your thoughts loosen and wander wherever they like. If you fall asleep somewhere in the middle of a sentence, honestly, that's exactly right. That's the whole idea. So tonight, we're going to take a slow, unhurried journey outward. We'll drift away from your pillow, past the ceiling, past the clouds, out into the wide and patient dark. And we'll wander gently through some of the softest, strangest, most soothing truths about the universe you happen to live in. No hurry, no destination we have to reach. Just a quiet float through the cosmos, one gentle wonder at a time. Along the way, you might find yourself surprised. We'll drift past a moon that is quietly slipping away from us, a little farther every year. We'll wonder about a place where a single day lasts longer than an entire year. We'll float towards starlight so old it began its journey before your grandparents were born, and it's only reaching your window now. Some of what you hear tonight may surprise you, or it may simply keep you gentle company as you drift. And just before we begin, if these calm, curious journeys help you unwind or give you a softer way to end your day, you might consider liking this video and subscribing. It's a small thing, but it helps other tired minds find their way to this quiet place too, one sleepy soul at a time. Now, if you're ready, let's begin. The moon is slowly drifting away from us. We tend to picture it as a fixed thing, a faithful companion that has always hung in the same place and always will. But it isn't fixed at all. Every single year, the moon eases a little farther out into space, about 3.5 centimeters, roughly the length of your thumb. It happens because of the tides. The moon's gentle pull raises the oceans, and the turning Earth drags those tidal bulges slightly ahead. And that faint tug hands a whisper of energy to the moon, nudging it outward, orbit by orbit, century by century. It's like a slow dance where the two partners are drifting apart so gradually that neither one seems to notice. Somewhere far in the future, the moon of tonight will hang smaller and paler in the sky, but not for a very, very long time. For now, it stays close, patient, watching over the dark. Earth's days are quietly getting longer, not in a way you could ever feel, but the length of a single day is slowly stretching, moment by moment, across the ages. It's tied to that same lunar dance. As the moon draws energy from the tides, the Earth's spin gently slows in return, the way a spinning top loses just a hair of its speed. Hundreds of millions of years ago, a day lasted only about 22 hours, and the creatures of that ancient sea knew shorter nights than we do. Coral from those times even carries faint growth lines, like tree rings, that count the extra days of a faster turning world. So time itself, in a sense, is softening as it passes. The nights are growing longer, a heartbeat at a time, as if the planet were slowly learning to rest. Sunlight is always older than it looks. When you feel the warmth of morning on your face, that light is not new. It left the surface of the sun about 8 minutes and 20 seconds earlier, and crossed roughly 150 million kilometers of empty space to reach you. So the sunrise you greet is really a small piece of the past, a message sent before you woke, and the light itself carries an even deeper age. The energy inside a single ray began its life buried in the sun's core, and it can take tens of thousands of years to work its way to the surface before it ever escapes into space. Every sunbeam is a kind of ancient traveler, arriving quietly at your window. There's something comforting in that, the idea that even the daylight takes its time. Pluto is no longer counted among the planets, and that still stirs people. For most of the 20th century, children learned of 9 planets, and Pluto sat at the far, frozen edge as the smallest and most distant of them. Then astronomers found other icy worlds out there of similar size, and they had to ask a quiet question. Where does a planet end and a mere frozen wanderer begin? So a new line was drawn, and Pluto became what we now call a dwarf planet, one small light among many in the outer dark. It circles the sun so slowly that it has not yet finished a single orbit since the day it was discovered. Whatever we choose to name it, it drifts out there still, faithful and unbothered, in the deep cold beyond the last great planet. The far side of the moon is not the dark side at all. People often speak of a dark side of the moon, a face lost in permanent shadow, and it sounds mysterious and a little lonely. But it isn't dark. The moon turns on its axis in exactly the same time it takes to circle the Earth, so it always keeps one face turned toward us and one face turned away. That hidden face receives just as much sunlight as the one we know, in its own slow rhythm of long lunar days and nights. We simply never see it from home. It's like a person who always dances facing you, their back forever turned to the room behind them. For thousands of years, no eye had ever seen it, until we finally sent cameras around to look. And what waited there was not shadow, but a quiet, sunlit landscape all its own. Saturn's rings may be a fleeting thing. We think of those bright rings as timeless, as though Saturn has always worn them and always will. Yet the rings appear to be surprisingly young, perhaps only a few 100 million years old, which means the earliest dinosaurs may have looked up at a Saturn with no rings at all. They're made of countless pieces of ice and rock, some as small as grains of sugar, some as large as houses, all circling in a broad glittering band. And slowly, gently, that ice is raining down onto the planet, a soft and endless snowfall drawn inward by gravity. In time, cosmic time, the rings may fade away entirely. We are simply lucky enough to be here now, during the brief chapter when Saturn is wearing its crown. On Venus, a single day is longer than a year. It sounds impossible, almost like a riddle, and yet it's simply true. Venus turns on its axis so incredibly slowly that one full rotation, one Venusian day, takes longer than the time it needs to travel all the way around the sun. So on that shrouded world, you could be born and grow older by a whole year before the planet finished turning once beneath your feet. Stranger still, Venus spins backward compared to most of its neighbors. So there, the sun would rise softly in the west and set in the east. It's a world with its own private sense of time, unhurried to the point of dreaming, turning so gently it seems almost reluctant to move at all. You are being touched by starlight from other suns. As you lie here in the quiet, light from distant stars is drifting down through the dark and settling softly against your skin. Some of it left its star tens of years ago, some of it thousands, crossing an ocean of emptiness the whole way, only to end its long journey here, in your room, on you. Those faint photons are the oldest things you will touch all day. Ancient messengers finishing a voyage that began before you were even a thought. It's a strange and tender idea that the night sky is not only above you, but upon you, gently. You are, in this very moment, a shore where starlight comes to rest. The sun holds almost everything in the solar system. When we picture the sun and its family of planets, we imagine a fairly even household, the sun and its many worlds. But the balance is nothing like even. The sun contains more than 99 and 8/10 of all the mass in the entire solar system. Every planet, every moon, every comet and asteroid and drifting grain of dust, all of it together makes up less than the leftover fraction. The great gas giants Jupiter and Saturn claim most of what remains, and little Earth is only a faint crumb by comparison. It's a bit like a vast still lake beside a scattering of tiny pebbles along its edge. And yet that overwhelming presence is exactly what holds us gently in place, keeping every world turning in its slow and steady ring around the light. Comets carry tails that always point away from the sun. We might expect a comet's tail to stream out behind it, trailing like the smoke behind a moving train. But a comet's tail doesn't follow its motion at all. It's pushed outward by the sun itself, by sunlight, and by the steady stream of particles the sun breathes out in every direction. So the tail always flows away from the sun, no matter which way the comet is traveling, even when the comet is heading home, and its tail runs out ahead of it, like a banner leading the way, made of loosened ice and dust. That tail can stretch for millions of kilometers, while the icy heart of the comet stays no larger than a small mountain. They pass through the inner solar system like slow, glowing visitors, and then slip back into the deep for a lifetime or more before returning. There is a quiet balance point between the Earth and the sun. Out in the space between our world and its star, there are a handful of gentle places where the pull of the Earth and the pull of the sun settle into a soft equilibrium. In those spots, a small object can hover along, keeping pace with the Earth, needing hardly any effort to hold its position. We call them balance points, and we've learned to place our most patient telescopes there so they can drift in stillness and gaze out at the cosmos undisturbed. It's like finding the one calm eddy in a wide, moving river, a place where a leaf can rest and simply turn in slow circles. Even in the restless motion of space, it seems, there are corners of quiet. Moonlight is really just sunlight, softened and delayed. On a clear night, when the moon spills its pale glow across your room, it can feel like a light all its own, cool and silver and separate from the day. But the moon makes no light of its own. Every bit of that glow is sunlight, caught on the moon's dusty gray surface and bounced gently back toward you. And the moon is not truly silver at all. Its dust is closer to the color of worn charcoal, dark as an old country road. And yet against the black of space, it shines soft and bright. So when you rest in the light of a full moon, you're resting in sunshine that has traveled to the moon and back, taking the long way around, just to reach you gently in the dark. Space, according to those who have been there, has a faint smell. It's one of those small human details that's easy to overlook among the grand cosmic facts, and I'll admit, it's one of my favorites. Astronauts returning from spacewalks have described a curious scent clinging to their suits and helmets once they come back inside. Something like scorched metal, or warm gunpowder, or the sharp air after a firework. It seems to come from tiny reactions on the surfaces of their gear, touched by the raw environment just outside the station. None of us will likely ever breathe it in for ourselves. But there's something homely about the thought that even the vast emptiness leaves a faint trace behind, like the smell of wood smoke on a coat by the fire. The colors of twilight are the sky slowly filtering the light. As the sun sinks low, the sky moves through gold and rose and deep, quiet blue. And all of it is just sunlight passing through more and more air on its way to your eyes. The tiny molecules of the atmosphere scatter the shorter blue light in every direction, which is why the daytime sky is blue at all. But at dusk, the light travels a longer slanting path through the air. The blue is scattered away, and the warm reds and golds are what remain to reach you. It's like light being poured through a soft and endless filter, leaving only the gentlest colors at the end of the day. Every sunset you've ever watched was the same quiet physics, painting the same slow farewell across the sky. Jupiter wears a storm wider than our whole planet. For at least a few hundred years, we've watched a great reddish oval turning slowly in the clouds of Jupiter, and it has never truly stopped. It's a storm, a vast swirl of gas spinning around and around, and it is so enormous that our entire Earth could sink into it with room to spare. The winds there race faster than any storm we've ever known at home, and yet, from far away, it looks almost peaceful. A soft, rust-colored eye set in bands of cream and gold. It turns like a slow whirlpool painted onto the side of the largest planet we have, patient and unhurried. And strangely, this storm has been calming in recent years, shrinking gently, as if even the fiercest weather in the solar system is learning, in its own time, how to settle down. Saturn is so light it could float in water. Of all the planets circling our sun, Saturn is the one that plays a quiet trick on our expectations. It's the second largest world we have, a giant ball wrapped in those famous rings. And you might imagine something that big would be impossibly heavy. But Saturn is made mostly of the lightest gases there are, hydrogen and helium, spread out so loosely that the whole planet is less dense than plain water. If you could find a bathtub big enough, Saturn would bob on the surface like a cork, its rings trailing behind it. There's something lovely in that image, a world the size of hundreds of Earths, drifting as gently as a soap bubble on a still pond. A single day on Jupiter is over before you'd finish a good nap. Here on Earth, we're used to the slow turn that gives us our 24 hours, sunrise easing into afternoon, and afternoon fading into dusk. But Jupiter, for all its size, spins astonishingly fast, turning all the way around in only about 10 hours. That means if you stood in its swirling clouds, you'd watch the sun rise and set twice in the time you spend asleep tonight. It spins like a great top, given one long, effortless push at the beginning of time, still whirling all these ages later. The biggest planet has the shortest day, and it keeps that quiet, tireless rhythm without ever slowing, turning and turning in the dark. There are more stars in the sky than grains of sand on every beach on Earth. This is one of those thoughts that's almost too large to hold. And yet people who count such things have looked carefully, and the numbers really do lean that way. Picture all the sand on all the shores of the world, every quiet cove and every wide golden coast, every grain you'd ever sift through your fingers. Now know that the stars scattered across the universe outnumber them, softly, easily. Each of those stars is a sun, and many of them hold worlds of their own. It's like standing on a beach at night and realizing the sky above holds more light than the sand below holds stones. And both go on farther than you could ever walk. Andromeda, the great galaxy next door, is drifting slowly toward us. Almost everything in the wide universe is moving apart, galaxies sailing away from one another as the space between them stretches. But Andromeda is the gentle exception, our nearest large neighbor among the galaxies, and it's easing closer with every passing year. In around 4 billion years, it will meet our own Milky Way, and the two will begin a slow merging into one. It won't be a crash in the way that word suggests. Space is so vast and stars are so far apart that they'll simply glide past one another, weaving into a new and larger whole, like two slow flocks of birds passing through the same evening air. By then our sun will be old, and no one who watches, if anyone does, will feel a thing but wonder. Neptune has not yet finished a single year since we found it. Out at the cold blue edge of our planetary family drifts Neptune, so far from the sun that its journey around it takes an enormous stretch of time. One trip, one Neptunian year, lasts about 165 of ours. We first spotted Neptune in the 1840s, and only recently has it completed one full loop around the sun since that day. It moves along its great wide path the way a slow hand sweeps around the largest clock imaginable, taking human lifetimes to mark a single hour. Out there, a child born when Neptune began its year would be long gone before that year was through, and the planet would carry on, unbothered in the dark. A single spoonful of a dead star would weigh more than a mountain. When a star far larger than our sun reaches the end of its life, it can leave behind something remarkable, a neutron star, the crushed and quiet core of what it used to be. All the matter of a whole sun is squeezed into a ball you could almost drape a small town across, and it becomes so dense that one small spoonful of it would outweigh entire ranges of hills. Yet these strange cores spin softly in place, some sweeping beams of light around, like the gentlest of lighthouses on a far and lonely shore. There's nothing frightening in them, only stillness pressed to its very limit, the last calm heartbeat of a star that shone long ago. Mars is home to the tallest mountain in the solar system. We tend to think of Mars as a small, rusty world, quieter and colder than our own. But it holds a giant that dwarfs anything we have. It's a volcano called Olympus Mons, and it rises nearly 3 times the height of the tallest peak on Earth, so wide at its base that it would cover an entire country. It grew slowly, over unimaginable spans of time, as gentle lava rose again and again with no shifting ground beneath to move it along. It sits there now like a vast sleeping dome under a pale pink sky, long since gone still. A mountain so large that if you stood upon its slopes, its edges would curve away below the horizon, and you might never know you were on a mountain at all. Some of the faint static in the world is the afterglow of the very beginning. Long ago, when radios drifted between stations or old televisions filled with a soft, snowy hiss, a tiny part of that whisper came from farther away than anything else you could ever tune into. It's a faint warmth left over from the birth of the universe itself, a glow that has been cooling and softening for billions of years until it's settled into a gentle hum that fills all of space. It touches everything, including you, lying there in the quiet. It's like the last echo of a bell that rang so long ago the sound has spread into every corner of the room, grown so soft you can barely tell it's still there. And yet it is, all around you, the oldest light there is, keeping you quiet company as you rest. Even scorching little Mercury hides pockets of ice. Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, a small gray world baked by heat we can hardly imagine on its sunlit face. You'd never expect to find frost anywhere near it, but Mercury barely tilts as it turns, and deep inside certain craters near its poles, there are shadows the sunlight has never once reached, floors that have stayed dark since the craters were formed. In those permanent shadows, the cold holds on, and ice sits patiently in the darkness, an arm's length from one of the hottest places we know. It's like finding a cool, shaded well in the middle of a desert at noon. Fire and frost, tucked side by side on the same little world, each keeping to its own quiet corner. Uranus rolls around the sun, lying almost completely on its side. Most planets spin more or less upright as they travel, like tops turning neatly on a table. But Uranus is tipped so far over that it seems to roll along its path, its poles pointing nearly toward the sun, rather than up and down. Long ago, something is thought to have struck it, or slowly tugged it, until it settled into this sideways tilt. Because of that, its seasons are unlike any other, each pole soaking in decades of sunlight before turning to face decades of night. It rolls along its orbit like a marble set, gently spinning across a smooth, wide floor, unhurried and serene. A whole world lying down, drifting through the cold in a pose that looks, in its own way, almost restful. One of the brightest stars in our winter sky will someday quietly fade. High in the shoulder of the constellation we call Orion glows Betelgeuse, a red giant so vast that if you set it where our sun is, it would swallow the space out past several of the inner planets. Stars like this don't last forever, and Betelgeuse is nearing the end of its long life. One day, perhaps soon in the slow reckoning of stars, or perhaps far off, it will let go of its light and settle into something smaller and dimmer. When it happens, we'll see a soft new brightness in the sky for a little while, then a gentle dimming, like a candle guttering low after a long, warm evening. It's a natural closing, not a loss, the same quiet ending every great star eventually finds. Jupiter has spent ages quietly guarding the inner planets. With all its enormous mass, Jupiter reaches out across great distances with its gravity, gently tugging at the wandering comets and stray rocks that drift in from the far edges of the solar system. Many of these it draws harmlessly toward itself, or nudges off onto safer paths, keeping a good number of them from ever traveling deeper toward worlds like ours. It has done this patiently for billions of years, a large and steady presence out beyond us. It's like a big old tree at the edge of a field, catching the strongest winds before they reach the little house behind it. We rarely think of it, and yet Jupiter has been keeping a quiet, distant watch over us since long before there was anyone here to be watched over. Our own sun will one day swell, then settle into a soft glowing ember. The sun has been shining steadily for billions of years, and it has billions more ahead of it. So this is a slow and distant story. Far in the future, it will gradually grow larger and cooler, blushing into a red giant, before easing off its outer layers and leaving behind a small, warm core called a white dwarf. That core will glow for ages, cooling ever so slowly in the dark. It's like a hearth at the very end of the night, the flames long gone, only gentle embers left, giving off their last soft warmth to an empty and peaceful room. There's no need to feel any weight in this. It lies unimaginably far ahead, and it's simply the way a star like ours grows old and finally rests. Space is almost perfectly, endlessly silent. Sound is a traveler that needs something to move through, air or water, or some crowd of molecules to pass the trembling along from one to the next. But the great spaces between the planets and the stars are so empty that there's almost nothing there to carry a sound at all. So the largest storms on distant worlds, the slow collisions of whole galaxies, the burning of a billion suns, all of it unfolds in a silence deeper than any quiet you've ever known. It's like watching snow fall past a window in the dead of night. Vast motion with no voice at all. The universe does its grandest work without a whisper, turning and glowing and drifting on in the softest hush there is. When galaxies meet, their stars almost never touch. It's easy to imagine two galaxies drawing together as a great scattering crash, billions of suns smashing into one another. But galaxies are mostly empty room. The stars within them spread so thin, with such immense gulfs of space between, that when two galaxies pass through each other, individual stars almost always simply glide by, untouched. The galaxies reshape slowly, pulled into long, graceful streamers of light by each other's gravity, taking hundreds of millions of years to settle. It's like two great clouds of fireflies drifting through the same dark meadow, weaving among one another and coming out changed, yet whole. Even the largest meetings in the universe turn out to be surprisingly gentle, more a slow embrace than any kind of collision. There may be more planets in our galaxy than there are stars. For most of human history, we couldn't be sure there were any worlds beyond our own handful. But as we've learned to look, we've found that planets seem to be almost everywhere, circling star after star, and many stars carry several at once. When the counting is done, it seems our Milky Way may hold even more planets than it holds suns, quietly numbering in the hundreds of billions. Somewhere out there, right now, countless worlds are turning through their own days and nights, their own dawns and long evenings. It's like learning that every light you can see in a distant town has a whole home behind it, warm and full of rooms. The sky, it turns out, is not sprinkled with lonely stars, but crowded softly with places. The coldest known place in the universe was made by a dying star's breath. Far off in the dark hangs a cloud of gas called the Boomerang Nebula, cast off gently by a star nearing the end of its days. As that gas rushed outward and spread thin, it cooled and cooled until it dropped to a temperature colder than the natural chill of empty space itself, colder than almost anywhere we've ever measured. It hangs there now, a pale frozen breath drifting slowly outward into the night. It's like the fog of a single soft exhale on a winter morning, expanding into the still air and never quite fading. The universe, for all its distant fires, holds pockets so cold and calm that even the emptiness around them seems warm by comparison. Most of the stars you can see travel with a companion. When you look up at a single point of light, it's easy to imagine each star hanging alone in the dark. But out among the countless suns of our galaxy, a great many of them come in pairs, or even threes and fours, bound together by gravity and circling one another for billions of years. They were often born from the same collapsing cloud, and they've kept close ever since, tracing slow loops around a shared center. It's like two dancers who learned the same steps long ago and never once let go of each other's hands. So the loneliness we sometimes read into the night sky isn't quite the whole story. Most of those tiny lights are quietly keeping someone company. Right now, without a sound, you're being carried around the center of the galaxy. It doesn't feel like anything, resting there in your bed. And yet the sun and every planet with it are sweeping through space at more than 230 kilometers every second. At that pace, we still take something like 230 million years to finish a single loop around the Milky Way, one long galactic year. The last time the sun was where it sits now, the earliest dinosaurs were only just beginning to wander a much younger Earth. It's like riding a great slow carousel so wide that a whole lifetime is far too short to notice it turning. And through all of it, you rest, gently carried, needing to do nothing at all. At the very heart of our galaxy rests a black hole of enormous size. The words can sound frightening. A place where gravity grows so strong that not even light can slip away. But this one, called Sagittarius A star, sits calm and distant, tens of thousands of light years from us, holding the galaxy's center like a still point at the middle of a spinning wheel. It isn't racing toward us or swallowing the stars around it. Most of them simply orbit at a respectful distance, drifting along their long, slow paths. It's like the quiet hub of a vast pinwheel, motionless, while everything else turns gently around it. Far from a danger in the night, it's part of what keeps our whole great spiral turning in order. The Milky Way spreads its stars into 4 great spiral arms. From inside it, we can never see the whole shape at once, the way you can't see the outside of a house while you're sitting in one of its rooms. But by patiently mapping the gas and the young bright stars around us, astronomers have traced our galaxy as a grand spiral, its 4 arms winding outward from a glowing central bar. Our own sun sits along a smaller spur between 2 of them, out in the quiet suburbs, far from the crowded core. It's like living on a calm little side street that branches off a great sweeping avenue of light. We are, in the gentlest sense, dwellers on the peaceful edge of something immense. Some planets drift through the galaxy with no star to call their own. We tend to picture every world tucked snugly in orbit around a sun, warmed and lit by its steady glow. But scattered through the dark between the stars are countless wanderers, planets that were nudged loose from their birthplaces long ago and now float freely through the galaxy, following no orbit at all. They move through a deep and starless night, cold and quiet, carrying whatever moons and memories they had along with them. It's like paper lanterns that slipped their strings and drifted off across a wide black lake. There's something oddly peaceful in the thought of them, untroubled, unhurried, simply adrift in the dark. Most of the stars around us are small, cool, and remarkably patient. When we imagine a star, we often think of something like our sun, or one of the brilliant blue giants that catch the eye. But by far the most common stars in the galaxy are the modest red dwarfs, smaller and dimmer, burning their fuel so slowly and so carefully that they can shine for trillions of years. Our own sun will seem a brief candle beside them. They'll still be glowing softly long after it has faded away. It's like a low ember banked in a fireplace, giving off a gentle, steady warmth all through the longest night. The galaxy, it turns out, seems to favor the quiet, lasting lights over the loud and fleeting ones. The nearest star beyond our sun is farther away than we can easily picture. In the night sky, it looks as though the stars are gathered close together, a scattering of lights almost near enough to touch. But the closest of them all, a small red star called Proxima Centauri, lies just over 4 light years away, so distant that its light takes more than 4 years to reach us. If the sun were a single glowing marble here in your room, that neighbor star would be another marble hundreds of kilometers away. It's like 2 lighthouses so far apart along a dark coast that each one sees the other only as the faintest spark. The vast spaces between the stars are part of what makes each single one so precious and so still. Some stars have swollen so large they could swallow whole orbits. Our sun feels immense to us. More than 1 million Earths could fit inside it. And yet out among the older stars, there are red supergiants so vast that if one took the sun's place, its glowing edge would reach out past where several of our planets now circle. They've puffed outward in their old age, growing enormous and cool, their light deepening into a soft and gentle red. It's like a small, warm lamp that has slowly dimmed and spread until it fills an entire room with a rosy haze. Even the giants of the sky, it seems, tend to soften rather than sharpen as their long lives draw on. A few stars have been cast out of their galaxies entirely. Most stars spend their whole lives within the bright crowd of a galaxy, held close by gravity among their countless kin. But every so often, a near pass with the great black hole at a galaxy's heart can fling a single star outward with tremendous speed, sending it off on a lonely path into the emptiness beyond. It drifts away through the dark between galaxies, where the nearest neighbors are unimaginably far. It's like a lantern carried out of a warm village and set gently down upon the open sea. And still it shines, patient and unbothered, lighting a little of the vast dark it now calls home. Our galaxy belongs to a small and quiet family of galaxies. It's tempting to think of the Milky Way as standing alone in the dark, a single island of stars, but it travels in the company of others, a loose gathering known as the local group, a few dozen galaxies bound softly together by gravity. Most of them are small and faint, drifting around the 2 large spirals, our Milky Way and its neighbor Andromeda, like children keeping near a pair of gentle parents. It's like a handful of houses clustered together on a wide and empty plain, quietly keeping one another company. Even galaxies, it seems, would rather not drift entirely alone. Those families of galaxies gather into structures larger still. Beyond our local group lie other groups and clusters, and beyond those, the clusters themselves flow together into vast sweeping structures that stretch across almost unthinkable distances. Our whole neighborhood is part of one such immense form, a great basin of galaxies all drifting slowly toward a common region. Astronomers have given it a soft-sounding name that means immeasurable heaven. It's like finding that your quiet street belongs to a town, and the town to a country, and the country to something far wider than any map could hold. Nested gently within it all, we rest. Most of what holds the galaxies together we cannot see. When we watch how galaxies spin and how they cling to one another, they behave as though far more matter is present than all their glowing stars could ever account for. So there seems to be something else woven all through them, an unseen kind of matter that gives off no light of its own, quietly lending its gravity to hold everything in place. We call it dark matter, and though we cannot see it, we feel its steady hand nearly everywhere we look. It's like the calm, deep water beneath a floating leaf, unseen, yet holding the whole thing gently up. So much of the universe's order rests upon something we have never once glimpsed. Between the great clusters of galaxies stretch the widest empty spaces of all. We think of space as mostly empty already, but the galaxies are not scattered evenly through it. Instead, they gather along vast glowing threads and sheets, and between those threads lie enormous rounded hollows, regions so empty that a galaxy could drift a very long while before ever meeting another. If you found yourself somewhere in the middle of one, the sky around you would be almost entirely dark. It's like the still hollow at the center of a great soap bubble, quiet and untouched. On the largest scale of all, the universe arranges itself into something very like a soft and endless foam. Everything in the universe is slowly drifting farther apart. It isn't that the galaxies are rushing away from us through space, as though we'd somehow sent them off. Rather, the space between them is gently stretching, growing wider with every passing moment, carrying the distant galaxies along with it. There's nothing violent in it, no wind, no sound, only a vast and unhurried unfolding. It's like the surface of a slowly rising loaf of bread, each raisin easing away from all the others as the whole thing gently swells. The cosmos is not flying apart so much as quietly opening, like something taking a long, slow breath. The light from the farthest galaxies is older than the Earth itself. When you gaze at a distant galaxy, you're not seeing it as it is now, but as it was when that light first set out, long before our world had even begun to form. Some of it has been traveling across space for many billions of years, crossing distances so great that whole ages passed while it drifted quietly toward us. To look outward, then, is always to look backward, deeper and deeper into the past. It's like opening a letter written so long ago that the hand which wrote it is long since still. Every point of light in the night is a small piece of history, arriving gently, right on time. Around many stars, there's a gentle band where a world could hold liquid water. Not too close, where the heat would boil the seas away, and not too far, where they'd freeze into hard, still ice, but a comfortable ring in between, warm enough for water to pool and rest. Astronomers sometimes call it the habitable zone, and they found world after world drifting within it, circling other suns at just the right distance. We don't yet know what might wait on any of them, only that the conditions there could be kind. It's like discovering, on a cold night, that a few more chairs have quietly been drawn up near the fire. The galaxy may hold many a gentle place, warm and calm, waiting patiently in the dark. And if one of tonight's facts has stayed with you, the star quietly traveling with a companion, perhaps, or the calm giant resting at the heart of our galaxy, or if you'd have told it a little differently, leave it in the comments below. I read them each morning, and they often become the seeds of future journeys. For now, let's drift a little deeper. Stars are born in great, drifting clouds of gas and dust. We tend to imagine a star as something that has always simply been there, fixed and finished in the dark. But every one of them began inside an enormous cloud, a slow gathering of hydrogen and fine grains spread across light years of space. Here and there, the cloud grows a little denser, and gravity begins to draw the material inward, gently, patiently, until the center warms and a new light quietly kindles. It's like watching frost bloom across a cold window pane, each point of brightness forming where the chill has gathered. Just so. Every star you have ever seen was once a soft knot of shadow, waiting to shine. Those same clouds can glow in color softer than any painting. When young stars ignite within them, their light spills out into the surrounding gas and sets it faintly aglow. Reds and greens and dusky blues drifting through the dark. The red comes from hydrogen, warmed until it shines with the color of a distant ember, while other hues rise from oxygen and sulfur stirred by the newborn light. Astronomers call these glowing clouds nebulae, from an old word that simply means mist. They hang in space like slow curtains of colored smoke, lit softly from within. To look at one is to see the nursery and the light of its children in the very same breath. The space between the stars is never truly empty. We picture the great gaps as pure nothing, a clean and total void. Yet even there, a thin haze of gas and dust drifts quietly along. In every stretch of it, there are a few lonely atoms, mostly hydrogen, wandering through the cold with almost nothing to touch. It is thinner than the finest mist you could ever imagine, thinner than the best vacuum we could make on Earth. And still, it fills the whole galaxy from edge to edge. It's like the faint trace of scent that lingers in a room long after a candle has gone out. Nothing there is solid, and yet nothing there is wholly bare. A quiet rain of cosmic dust is always falling on the Earth. Far above the roof over your head, tiny grains from space are drifting down through the air, the remnants of comets and old collisions, so small you would never feel them. Many tons of this fine dust settle over the whole world every single day, sifting slowly onto rooftops and fields and the sills of open windows. Some of it, in the end, comes to rest in the quiet corners of your own room, mingled with the ordinary dust of home. It's like a soft snowfall from the far reaches of the solar system, far too gentle to ever notice. As you lie here resting, a little of the sky is slowly coming to Earth all around you. Almost every heavier element was forged in the heart of a star. In the beginning, there was mostly hydrogen and helium, the two lightest things there are, and very little else in all the cosmos. But deep inside the stars, under enormous warmth and pressure, these simple atoms were pressed together into heavier ones, carbon and oxygen, iron and gold, built up patiently over long stellar lifetimes. When those stars reached their end, they let these new elements drift out into space, where they slowly gathered into planets and oceans and living things. It's like a slow kitchen burning at the core of every sun, turning the plainest ingredients into everything else. The world around you was made, atom by atom, in light that shone long ago. When a great star dies, it scatters its riches across space. A massive star cannot burn forever. And when its fuel at last runs low, its outer layers drift free in a wide and luminous bloom. This is a supernova, and though the word can sound fierce, from a great distance it is only a soft new glow that swells and then slowly fades over weeks and months. What it leaves behind is a kind of gift. The heavier elements it made, spread out into the dark to enrich the next generation of stars and worlds. It's like a dandelion gone to seed, loosing everything it carried on a slow and silent wind. An ending, yes, but a giving one, and never truly the end at all. Some of the gold in the world was born when two dead stars embraced. The very heaviest elements, gold and platinum among them, seem to need something rarer even than a dying star to make them. When two neutron stars, the tiny dense cores left behind by old supernovae, spiral slowly together and finally meet. That meeting flings a wealth of precious metals out into space. It happens without any haste, over ages of gentle circling, until the last soft turn at last brings them together. It's like two long-parted travelers drifting toward each other across a darkened room. And where they touch, a little treasure quietly spills. Some of that treasure, in time, became the quiet shimmer of a ring on someone's hand. Some would-be stars never quite manage to shine. When a knot of gas draws together, but never gathers quite enough to kindle a true and steady fire, it settles instead into a dimmer, cooler thing, warm but never brilliant. We call these brown dwarfs, something halfway between a planet and a star, glowing faintly with the leftover warmth of their own making. They drift through the galaxy by the untold billions, too dim to easily notice, quietly cooling over ages beyond counting. It's like an ember that glowed for a single moment and then chose simply to smolder, content to give off warmth without a flame. There is something restful in them, in a light that never needed to burn bright. On Neptune and Uranus, it may well rain diamonds. Far beneath the pale clouds of those distant worlds, the pressure grows almost beyond imagining, and the carbon in their depths is squeezed until it hardens into glittering crystal. These diamonds, some say, then sink slowly through the dense interior, drifting down like precious hail toward each planet's hidden heart. No one has ever seen it, and no hand will likely ever hold one. And so the whole idea keeps a certain dreamlike quiet about it. It's like a snow globe turned gently over, its bright flecks settling forever through a deep and silent blue. Whether it truly falls that way, we cannot yet be sure, and perhaps that soft uncertainty is part of its charm. On other worlds, stranger weather still drifts through the skies. Around distant stars, we have found planets where the heat is so great that the very rocks turn to vapor, and iron falls as rain in the cooler air of night. On one such world, the winds are thought to carry a fine haze of glass, blown sideways through a permanent dusk. These are places we will surely never visit, known to us only as faint dips in the light of their stars, and yet we can picture their quiet, glittering rains. It's like imagining the weather in a country you will only ever read about, softened by distance into something almost gentle. The universe, it seems, holds more kinds of falling sky than we ever thought to dream. Water is scattered far more widely than we once believed. It is easy to think of our own blue world as something rare and singular, the only wet place in a dry and dusty cosmos. Yet the makings of water, hydrogen, and oxygen are among the most common things there are, and so it forms readily wherever they gather in the cold. There are clouds of water vapor drifting between the stars, thick ice on distant moons, and frost hidden deep in the dust of comets. It's like finding, on a long walk through a desert, that quiet springs lie tucked away far more often than you had guessed. We may live on a rare world still, but not, it turns out, a lonely drop. Deep in some clouds of space float molecules that would almost smell sweet. Among the drifting gas near the center of our galaxy, astronomers have picked out faint traces of a substance that, here on Earth, gives raspberries their flavor and rum its warmth. The clouds are far too thin and cold for anyone to ever catch the scent. And yet the molecules are truly there, forming quietly in the dark between the stars. It's like discovering a hint of something homely and familiar in the most far-flung corner of a house you thought you knew completely. How such delicate things come together in so cold and empty a place, no one fully understands. And perhaps, one night, someone drifting off to a voice like this one will grow up to be the person who finds out. The galaxies are far more numerous than anyone once imagined. Point our finest telescopes at the darkest, emptiest scrap of sky, a patch you would swear held nothing at all, and let them gather light for a long while. And that little window slowly fills with galaxies, hundreds upon hundreds of them. From counts like these, we reckon the whole sky holds many hundreds of billions of galaxies, each one a great glowing city of stars. Every faint smudge in those images is a whole island of suns, unimaginably far away. It's like lifting a single grain of sand and finding a whole metropolis quietly alive inside it. However vast you had thought the universe to be, it is almost certainly larger and fuller than that. Galaxies drift through space in a handful of quiet shapes. Some, like our own, wind their stars into broad and graceful spirals, slow pinwheels turning patiently through the dark. Others gather into smooth, rounded clouds of stars we call elliptical, holding no arms at all, only a soft and even glow. And some keep no ordered form, their stars strewn in gentle disarray, ruffled long ago by the passing of a neighbor. It's like a still garden where only a few kinds of flower grow, each with its own quiet way of opening to the light. There is no single way to be a galaxy, only many slow and lovely ones. The great elliptical galaxies are among the calmest places of all. They tend to be old, their brightest and busiest days long behind them, their gas mostly spent on stars already made. What remains is a vast and unhurried swarm of aging suns, glowing in the warm reddish tones of stars grown gentle with time. Little new is born there now, and so they simply drift on, serene and slowly cooling, keeping their ancient light close. It's like an old orchard in the late of the year, quiet and golden, its harvest long since gathered in. There is a deep restfulness to them, a sense of work completed and time settled at ease. Scattered around each galaxy are ancient spheres of crowded stars. We call them globular clusters, tight balls of many thousands of suns, bound together by gravity into a single glowing knot. They are some of the oldest things we know of, nearly as old as the galaxy itself, wheeling slowly through its outskirts as they have for ages beyond all counting. To stand on a world deep within one would be to have a sky crowded with bright, close stars, and hardly any true dark at all. It's like a swarm of fireflies caught and held forever inside one slow, unhurried lantern. They have kept their gentle formation since almost the very beginning, patient beyond telling. In the end, The clouds that make the stars are also where they return. A star lives out its long life, and when it fades or scatters, its material drifts back into the same slow gas from which it once came. There it waits, mingling with the leftover breath of countless other suns, until gravity gathers it once more and a new star begins quietly to warm. Nothing is truly lost in this slow turning, only borrowed and given back, and softly borrowed again. It's like the same rain falling and rising and falling once more, wearing 1,000 shapes, but never once leaving the sky. The heavens are not a museum of finished things, but a quiet wheel always turning. Dwarf galaxies are the most common galaxies of all. When we picture the universe, we tend to imagine the grand spirals and the great glowing ellipticals. And it's easy to forget that most galaxies are small. For every large one, there are many little companions, faint gatherings of a few million or a few 100 million stars, orbiting quietly around their bigger neighbors. They give off so soft a light that we've only slowly come to notice how many there truly are, hiding in the glow of grander things. It's like a wide meadow where the tallest flowers catch the eye, while countless smaller blossoms fill the grass unnoticed. The universe, it turns out, is mostly made of the small and the modest, drifting patiently in the shadows of the great. Large galaxies grow by gently drawing in the small. Over the long ages, a great spiral or elliptical will pass close to one of its little companions, and its gravity will slowly loosen that smaller galaxy, coaxing its stars away one by one. There's nothing sudden in it. The little galaxy simply unwinds over hundreds of millions of years, its stars folding into the larger one until the two can no longer be told apart. Our own Milky Way has grown this way, piece by borrowed piece, across most of its life. It's like a wide, slow river taking in the streams that meet it, until their waters are all one current. What looks like a single galaxy is often the quiet sum of many that came before. Some galaxies leave behind long ribbons of stars. When a small companion is slowly pulled apart by a larger galaxy, its stars don't simply vanish into the crowd. For a time, they trail along the path the little galaxy once traveled, stretched into a faint and delicate stream that loops around the sky. We found several of these arcs wrapped around the Milky Way, ghostly trails marking where a companion used to be. Each one is the soft signature of a galaxy that gave itself away. It's like a thread of smoke that keeps the shape of the candle long after the flame is gone. They are among the gentlest fossils in the heavens, written in scattered starlight. Our own galaxy has two bright companions we can almost see. From the far southern parts of the world, on a clear and moonless night, two soft smudges hang in the dark, looking a little like torn pieces of the Milky Way set adrift. They are the Magellanic Clouds, two small galaxies bound loosely to our own, drifting along beside us through space. For countless generations, travelers of the southern seas used them to find their way. They are close enough that their stars, if we could stand among them, would fill a whole sky of their own. It's like two little boats keeping pace beside a great slow ship, following the same current through the night. They have wandered with us for ages, quiet companions on a very long road. When two galaxies finally merge, new stars often bloom. It might seem that such a meeting would be a time of endings, but it's frequently the opposite. As the galaxies pass through one another, their vast clouds of gas are pressed and folded together, And where the gas grows dense enough, gravity takes hold and fresh stars begin to kindle. For a while, the joined galaxies glow brighter than either did alone, lit by whole generations of newborn suns. There's no violence in it that a living thing would feel, only a slow gathering of light across unimaginable time. It's like two quiet ponds flowing into one and stirring the seeds along their beds into sudden flower. Out of the meeting comes not loss, but a soft new brightness. Galaxies breathe out gas and slowly draw it back. A spiral like ours does not simply hold its material still. Here and there, where clusters of young stars pour out their warmth, gas is lifted up and away from the flat disk, rising into the quiet space above and below. But it rarely escapes. Cooling as it climbs, it eventually falls back down again, settling into the disk to help make the next generation of stars. It's a slow rhythm, one great rise and fall, taking many millions of years to complete. It's like a fountain whose water lifts, hangs for a moment, and drifts gently back to the pool below. The galaxy keeps its riches close, spending and recovering them in an unhurried tide. The light of far galaxies can bend around the near ones. Space itself is gently curved by anything with mass, and a large galaxy or cluster of galaxies curves it enough to steer the light passing by. So the glow of something far beyond, traveling toward us, is nudged from its straight path and bent around the nearer mass, sometimes arriving smeared into soft arcs, sometimes doubled into two faint images of the very same thing. We use this bending as a kind of natural lens, letting us glimpse galaxies too distant to see any other way. It's like moonlight rippling around a stone dropped in still water, curving to reach the far shore. Even the emptiness between the stars, it seems, has a gentle shape. At the hearts of some young galaxies burned a single brilliant light. In the far reaches of space, and so in the far past, we find galaxies whose centers once shone with the force of 100 ordinary galaxies, all pouring from a region no larger than our solar system. We call them quasars, and their light came from matter slowly spiraling toward the great black hole at a galaxy's core, warming to a fierce glow as it fell. Most have long since quieted, their fuel spent, their brilliance faded into calm. It's like a lantern that blazed in the morning of the world and has since settled to a soft and steady ember. Why some galaxies lit this way, while others stayed gentle, we're still slowly learning, and perhaps someone drifting off tonight will one day help us understand. A galaxy's color quietly tells its age. Look closely, and you'll find that galaxies come in different hues, and those colors carry meaning. The ones still busy making stars glow faintly blue, colored by hot young suns that live fast and burn bright. The ones that finished their star-making long ago shine in soft reddish gold, the tint of old and gentle stars grown patient with time. So a galaxy's color is a kind of portrait of its life, painted in the light of the stars it holds. It's like the changing shades of a single day, cool and bright at dawn, warm and mellow toward the evening. To read a galaxy's color is to know something of how far along its long life has come. Certain stars serve as measuring rods across the dark. Scattered through the galaxies are stars that pulse, swelling and shrinking in a steady rhythm, brightening and dimming over days or weeks. And there's a quiet wonder to them, for the slower a star pulses, the more light it truly gives off. By watching that rhythm, we can tell how bright a star really is, and by comparing that to how bright it looks from here, we can measure the enormous distance in between. Even now, as you rest, this soft trick of the light is how we've mapped the reaches of space far beyond our reach to travel. It's like judging how far off a lighthouse stands by knowing the true strength of its lamp. These humble pulsing stars are the yardsticks by which we've measured the heavens. The light of distant galaxies is stretched toward red. As the universe slowly expands, the space between the galaxies grows, and the light traveling across that space is gently stretched along with it. Stretched light shifts toward the red end of things, its waves drawn longer and calmer as they cross the widening gulf. So the farther a galaxy lies, the redder its light arrives, and by that soft reddening we can read how distant it is and how far its glow has come. It's like the low, easy tone of a train's whistle fading as it eases away down the line. The color of a galaxy's light is a quiet record of the whole long journey it has made to reach us. Between the galaxies of a cluster drifts a faint orphan glow. When many galaxies gather into a great cluster, their long, slow passages and gentle mergers scatter countless stars loose into the space between them. These stray suns belong to no single galaxy anymore. They simply drift in the shared dark, giving off a glow so soft it took us a long time to notice it at all. A pale sheen spread thin across the whole cluster. It's like the faint haze of light that lingers over a sleeping town, belonging to no one window in particular. Even the empty spaces between galaxies, it turns out, are quietly aglow with wandering stars. Our own galaxy's disk is gently warped. We often picture the Milky Way as a perfectly flat plate of stars, but its outer edges are not quite level. The great disk curves softly upward on one side and downward on the other, bent long ago by the pull of passing companions and the tug of unseen mass. The warp is slow and graceful, a shape that turns and shifts across many millions of years. It's like the brim of a wide hat, its edges lifted and lowered, just enough to break the perfect circle. Our home in space is not a rigid thing, but a supple one, swaying ever so slightly as it drifts through the dark. A vast halo of thin, warm gas wraps around our galaxy. Beyond the bright disk of stars, reaching out far past everything we can easily see, our galaxy is cradled in an enormous cloud of tenuous gas. It's so thin that it counts as a fine vacuum by any earthly measure. Yet it spreads so wide that altogether it may hold as much material as all the galaxy's stars. From it, new gas slowly settles inward to feed the making of stars for ages still to come. It's like a soft mist hanging around a garden, unseen but holding the water that keeps everything alive. Our galaxy is larger and gentler than its visible glow suggests, wrapped in a quiet reservoir of its own. Some galaxies send long, quiet jets from their cores. A few galaxies, fed by the black holes at their centers, channel narrow streams of matter outward from their hearts, jets that reach far beyond the galaxy itself into the surrounding dark. They travel enormous distances, spreading at last into soft glowing plumes that we can see only in the gentle light of radio waves. For all their reach, they unfold across such vast time that nothing about them would seem to move at all. It's like a slow ribbon of steam rising from a valley, drifting outward and settling into haze. These faint plumes are among the largest single things in all the universe, and among the most serene. Long bridges of stars can stretch between passing galaxies. When two galaxies drift close, their gravity reaches across the gap and draws out long, thin tails of stars and gas, sometimes flung far to either side, sometimes arching between the two like a delicate span. These tidal bridges glow faintly for a time, tracing the slow arc of the encounter across the sky. They may last hundreds of millions of years before they finally fade or fold back home. It's like two dancers whose trailing sleeves brush and stream out behind them as they turn. Even a passing greeting between galaxies leaves behind a soft and lovely thread of light. The oldest stars carry almost none of the heavier elements. When the very first stars formed, the universe held little more than the lightest gases, and so those early suns were made of almost nothing else. Every heavier thing came later, forged inside stars and scattered out to enrich the clouds that followed. So when we find a star nearly bare of heavier elements, we know we're looking at something ancient, born near the dawn of everything, still quietly shining. It's like finding a stone worn smooth by a river that ran before any living thing walked beside it. These old and simple stars are living memories of a younger, emptier cosmos, keeping their faint light through all the long time since. Some dead stars spin and sweep the dark like tiny lighthouses. When a great star collapses, what remains can be a neutron star, a city-sized ember packed impossibly tight, turning round and round many times every second. From its magnetic poles, it sends out steady beams of radio light. And as the star spins, those beams swing past us in a patient rhythm, a faint tick arriving again and again across the years. It's like the slow blink of a lantern glimpsed from far out at sea. Some of these pulses keep better time than any clock we have ever built, quietly marking the seconds in a corner of the sky where no one is watching. A few of these stars hold the strongest magnets in all the universe. Among the neutron stars, a rare kind called a magnetar carries a magnetic field so powerful it staggers the imagination, trillions of times stronger than the gentle pull that turns a compass needle here at home. That field is so intense it would smooth away the very atoms of anything that drifted too near. And now and then, the star lets slip a soft flicker of energy as it eases its immense inner tensions. It's like a taut string relaxing, one quiet note at a time. For all their hidden might, they hang there silent and unbothered, keeping to themselves in the deep. When a star explodes, it leaves behind a slowly spreading cloud. Long ago, people looked up and saw a new light appear even in the daytime sky, a star ending its life in a burst that outshone everything around it. What remains now is a soft, tattered veil of glowing gas, still drifting outward, still widening gently against the black, lit from within by the spinning remnant at its heart. It's like the ripple left on a pond long after the stone has sunk from sight. We can watch it grow a little wider with each passing decade, an old ending that heals by opening ever more slowly into the dark. Some dying stars are still cooling toward a rest they have not yet reached. When a star like our own gives up its outer layers, the core it leaves behind is a white dwarf, an ember about the size of a small world, glowing only with the warmth it has left. Over unimaginable stretches of time, it will fade and cool, dimmer and dimmer, until at last it becomes a cold, dark cinder. Yet the universe is far too young for even a single one of these to exist so far. It's like a coal set out in the evening, cooling toward a morning that has not yet come. No one has ever seen such a star, and perhaps someone drifting off to a quiet voice like this one will be alive when the very first of them appears. A soft flood of tiny particles is streaming through you at this very moment. The sun and the distant stars pour out countless neutrinos, ghostly specks, so small and so shy of matter that they slip through whole planets as though they were open windows. Right now, without the faintest touch, trillions of them are passing through your body, through your bed, through the whole earth beneath you, and out the other side into the night. It's like standing in a soft rain that never once leaves you wet. They ask nothing of you and leave no trace, and yet they carry news of the burning hearts of stars, whispered straight through you as you rest. The stuff of a neutron star is heavier than almost anything we can picture. Back among those collapsed stars we drifted past a little while ago. The matter is squeezed so tightly that every grain of it holds a staggering weight. A single teaspoon of it would tip the scales against an entire mountain range. All that mass folded quietly into one small sip. It's like gathering a whole city into the space of a thimble and finding it still weighs the same. The truth of it sits just beyond what the mind can really hold. And maybe that's all right, out here where the ordinary rules soften and gently bend. Space itself can ripple like the surface of a pond when very heavy things move sharply, when two dead stars spiral together and merge into one. They send out waves in the fabric of space and time, gentle swells that spread outward at the speed of light. By the time those waves reach us, they are almost impossibly faint, stretching the whole width of the earth by less than the size of a single atom. It's like the last soft rings from a raindrop reaching the far shore of a lake. We have only lately learned to feel them at all, and each one carries the quiet story of an event that happened long before our world was young. Our sun blows a vast, soft bubble around all its planets. From the sun, there streams a steady wind of thin particles, flowing outward in every direction, and it carves out an enormous region of space that holds back the thinner drift of the wider galaxy. Far beyond the outermost planets, this wind finally slows and settles against the surrounding dark, marking a gentle border where the sun's reach quietly gives way. It's like the warmth of a fire filling a room only so far before the cool of the night takes over. We live deep inside this bubble, wrapped in our own star's steady breath, sheltered without ever once feeling it. Far out past everything, a great shell of sleeping comets may surround us, long beyond the planets, beyond even that bubble of solar wind. There is thought to be an immense, faint cloud of icy bodies wrapped all the way around the sun. They drift out there in the deep cold, so distant that a single loop around the sun can take them millions of years. And only now and then does one fall inward to visit our skies. It's like a slow swarm of seeds hanging in the still air of a winter field. Most of them will never come near at all, content to circle in the dark, far from any warmth, patient beyond all reckoning. Two small travelers made by human hands have drifted out beyond the planets. Launched long ago to wander past the giant worlds, the Voyager craft simply kept going, slipping at last across that soft border where the sun's wind fades and true interstellar space begins. They move now in silence through the space between the stars, growing colder and quieter, their faint voices taking many hours to reach us. It's like a paper boat carried gently past the mouth of a river and out onto an endless sea. They will drift on for ages after we have forgotten them, carrying a small golden record of who we once were into the deep. Every time we look outward, we are also looking backward in time. Light is swift, but it is not instant, and across the vast reaches of space, it takes long stretches to arrive. So the sun we see is the sun of 8 minutes ago, and the nearer stars shine as they were years or centuries past, and the faraway galaxies show themselves as they looked before the Earth had even formed. It's like reading letters that took whole lifetimes to arrive, each one telling of a moment long since gone. To gaze into the depth of the sky is to wander a quiet gallery of the past, all of it glowing softly at once. On the largest scale of all, the galaxies gather along vast, glowing threads. Seen from far enough away, the universe is not scattered evenly, but drawn into a delicate lattice, long filaments of galaxies strung across the dark, with great hollow rooms of empty space between them. Gravity has spent all of time gently pulling matter along these strands, gathering it slowly wherever the threads cross. It's like frost spreading its fine, branching patterns across a cold window pane in the night. We live on one quiet strand of this immense web, a single bright bead among countless others, all softly connected across the deep. Nearly everything solid is, in truth, almost entirely empty space. The chair, the floor, the walls around you, all of it is built from atoms. And an atom is mostly a vast stillness, with a tiny dense center and a faint haze of even smaller things far out around it. If the heart of an atom were the size of a marble, the rest would stretch away, like a quiet, empty stadium of air. It's like a single lantern glowing in the middle of a great dark field. The solid world you lean on tonight is mostly a gentle emptiness, held together by nothing you could ever see. For every kind of particle, there is a mirror twin. Deep in the workings of matter, each tiny piece has an opposite, an antiparticle with its charge reversed. And when the two ever meet, they quietly vanish into pure light. In the first moments of the universe, there was very nearly the same amount of each, and had the balance been perfect, all of it would have canceled away into a soft glow. But a whisper of extra matter survived, and from that faint surplus came the stars, the worlds, and everything within them. It's like two tides almost erasing one another, leaving only a thin line of sand along the shore. Everything that is simply what remained of that quiet imbalance. A steady sprinkle of high-flying particles rains down on the world from deep space. Far off, in the shattered remains of exploded stars and other restless places, tiny particles are flung outward at tremendous speed, wandering the galaxy for ages until some of them happen upon the Earth. Our air softens each arrival, breaking it into a harmless shower of smaller pieces that settle down all around, unfelt and unheard. It's like the last gentle spray from a wave that has crossed the whole width of an ocean. They have been falling softly through every night of your life, and every night long before it, a quiet drizzle from the far reaches of the sky. Our whole neighborhood of stars sits inside a great, quiet hollow. Long ago, a handful of stars nearby ended their lives and swept the thin gas around them outward, clearing a vast cavity in the galaxy. And within that hollow, the sun and many of its neighbors now gently drift. The space here is thinner and clearer than most, a calm clearing carved by those ancient endings. It's like a soft glade opened in the middle of a dense and misty wood. We have been passing through this peaceful hollow for a very long while, unaware of the old fires that shape the room we travel in. Our sun keeps a slow and steady rhythm all its own. Roughly every 11 years, the tangle of magnetism within it winds up and then eases again, and its face grows freckled with dark, cool spots before clearing back toward calm. Through this long, repeating breath, the sun brightens and quiets by the very faintest measure. A heartbeat far too slow for us to notice within a single season. It's like the gentle rise and fall of a sleeper's chest. Drawn out across the years, our star has kept this patient rhythm for longer than there have been eyes to watch it, and it will keep it long after tonight has passed. Far beneath the ice of one of Jupiter's moons, a hidden ocean waits in the dark. Europa looks, from a distance, like a smooth, pale marble, wrapped in a shell of frozen water and threaded with faint reddish lines. But under that crust, warmed by the constant tug and squeeze of Jupiter's gravity, there lies a sea of liquid water, perhaps deeper than every ocean on Earth combined. It's like a still pond sleeping beneath a roof of glass, untouched by wind or light. We may never dip a hand into it, yet it turns quietly all the same, patient in a way that is hard to imagine. Not far away, a smaller moon breathes water into space. Enceladus, one of Saturn's icy companions, is a tiny world hardly wider than a country. And yet from long cracks near its southern pole, it sends soft plumes of frozen mist drifting upward, hundreds of kilometers high. Beneath its shell hides another buried sea, and the gentle heat within pushes those fountains slowly out into the cold. It's like the faint steam rising from a warm cup left out on a winter morning. Some of that mist even settles into one of Saturn's outer rings, a whole world quietly feeding the glow around its planet. On Titan, the rain falls, but it is not made of water. This large moon of Saturn wears a thick golden haze, and beneath it lie true lakes and slow rivers, wide enough to sail across. Yet in that deep chill, water is hard as stone, so the liquid pooling in those basins is methane and its cousins, the same stuff we know only as gas back home. It's like an autumn landscape painted entirely in amber and shadow, rain drifting down through a hush. It is the only other place we know of where liquid gathers openly on the surface, waiting under a distant, muted sun. Another moon of Jupiter is the most restless world we know. Io is a little larger than our own moon, and its surface is dotted with hundreds of volcanoes, some flinging fountains of sulfur far above the ground. Caught in a constant gravitational tug-of-war between Jupiter and its sister moons, Io is stretched and kneaded until its insides run hot. It's like a small stone squeezed endlessly in a giant's hand until it glows. And still, from far enough away, it hangs there calm and yellow, its turmoil made silent by the great distance in between. The largest moon in our whole neighborhood is bigger than a planet. Ganymede, yet another of Jupiter's family, is wider across than Mercury itself, a moon so large that if it circled the sun alone, we would surely call it a world. It even carries its own faint magnetic field, the only moon we know that does. It's like a grown child still walking quietly beside a parent, though it stands taller than some of the strangers passing by. It drifts around its giant on a slow and steady path, keeping the same unhurried pace it has held for ages. Mars keeps two little moons, and one of them is slowly falling. Phobos and Deimos are small and lumpy, more like captured stones than proper spheres, and they circle the red planet close and quick. Phobos, the nearer one, edges a tiny bit lower with every long turn, drawn gently inward, so that in the far future it will either break into a faint ring or settle softly down. It's like a leaf spiraling slowly toward the ground on a windless afternoon. There is no rush to it, no alarm, only the patient arithmetic of gravity playing out across millions of years. Far out by Neptune, a great moon circles the wrong way. Triton is large and bright and wrapped in a thin pink haze, and unlike almost every other major moon, it travels around its planet backward, against the direction Neptune spins. This tells us Triton was very likely a wanderer once, a small icy world captured long ago and pulled into orbit. It's like a traveler who arrived from somewhere else and quietly made a home among strangers. Slowly, gently, that backward path is winding down, and someday it too will drift inward, unhurried and unafraid. Out past the edge of the planets, Pluto and its moon dance as a pair. Charon, Pluto's largest companion, is so big compared to Pluto that the two do not simply orbit one another the ordinary way. Instead, they swing around a shared point that hangs in the empty space between them, each always showing the other the very same face, locked forever in a slow embrace. It's like two dancers holding hands and turning together, neither one leading, neither following. Far from the warmth of the sun, in a hush that never lifts, they keep circling, quiet partners in the dark. Auroras do not belong to Earth alone. The soft curtains of light that ripple over our polar skies are born when particles from the sun slide down a planet's magnetic field and brush against the air. And so, the giant planets, with their powerful magnetism, wear auroras of their own, glowing crowns of light shimmering above Jupiter and Saturn far brighter than ours. It's like distant lanterns being lit at the top of the world, one planet after another, all across the solar system, in colors most eyes will never see. The same gentle glow is quietly at play. And that same shielding field wraps softly around you even now. The Earth spins a great invisible bubble of magnetism far out into space, and it turns aside much of the stream of particles the sun sends our way, guiding them toward the poles and away from the ground below. Without ever asking, it has kept a calm and steady watch over every living thing for billions of years. It's like a soft roof over a house you never think about, quietly holding off the weather. As you rest tonight, that unseen shelter is still there, still gently doing its work. Deep inside the Earth, there is a heat to rival the surface of the sun. Down at the very center of our planet lies a solid inner core of iron, pressed so tightly that it stays firm despite temperatures near those of the sun's glowing face. Around it swirls a sea of molten metal, and its slow churning is what raises that protective field above our heads. It's like a warm ember buried at the heart of a great stone, never quite going out. We walk each day upon a thin, cool crust, resting above a furnace that has burned since the world was young. The Earth is not a perfect ball. Because it turns, our planet bulges ever so slightly around its middle and flattens just a touch at the poles. So the distance from center to sea is a little greater at the equator than at the top or bottom. It is a gentle swelling, far too subtle to notice with the eye, yet real enough to measure. It's like the soft spreading of dough left to rest and settle on its own. Even the ground beneath us, so firm and fixed to our senses, has quietly taken the shape its slow spinning gave it. Our path around the sun is not a perfect circle either. The Earth travels on a slightly oval track, so through the year we drift a little nearer to the sun, and then a little farther, by a few million kilometers each way. Oddly enough, we are closest in the depths of the northern winter, and it is the tilt of the world, not the distance, that brings the cold. It's like walking a wide, gentle loop around a fire, never quite the same length from the warmth. Season after season, the planet keeps to this soft ellipse, leaning into its own quiet lean. The shooting stars you have watched are the crumbs of passing comets. When a comet swings near the sun, it sheds a faint trail of dust along its path, and now and then the Earth drifts through one of those old, scattered trails. The little grains meet our air and flare into brief streaks of light, and so the meteor showers arrive on nearly the same nights each year. It's like walking through a room where someone long ago spilled a handful of glitter, catching it only as it flashes. Every wish you ever made on a falling star was made upon a speck of ancient ice and dust. On the darkest nights, a faint pyramid of light leans up from the horizon. This soft glow, called the zodiacal light, is sunlight scattering off countless grains of dust spread thinly through the plane of the solar system, the leftover crumbs of comets and gentle collisions long past. It is dim enough that city glow easily hides it, but away from all our lamps, it rises quietly after dusk or before dawn. It's like the last blush of a candle seen through a room full of the finest mist. It is the whole solar system, made faintly visible, its scattered dust catching the light of our star. The sun grows a little lighter with every passing second. To shine as it does, our star turns a portion of itself into light, shedding the weight of many mountains each second as pure radiance streaming out in every direction. Over its long life, this loss is gentle, a small tithe against its vast body. But it means the sun that warms you is ever so slightly less than the sun of long ago. It's like a great candle giving of itself so softly that it seems never to shrink at all. Every ray that touches your window is a small piece of the sun, given away and never taken back. Above the sun's bright face lies a crown that is stranger and hotter than the surface below it. The sun's outer halo, its corona, is a faint veil of gas we can see clearly only when the moon slips in front and hides the glare. And here is the puzzle. This thin outer crown burns far hotter than the surface beneath it, hundreds of times hotter, though it sits farther from the core. It's like standing away from a fire and somehow feeling the warmth grow. No one yet fully knows how it happens. Perhaps someone drifting towards sleep to words like these will one day be the one to understand. The star we call the North Star will not always hold that honor. Right now, Polaris hangs almost directly above the northern pole, a steady point around which the night seems to turn. But the Earth wobbles very slowly on its axis, like a spinning top leaning through a great, slow circle. And over thousands of years, the pole drifts to aim at other stars instead. It's like a compass needle so patient that it takes an age to swing. Long from now, a different star will keep the watch, and ours will step quietly aside, still shining, simply no longer at the center of the turning sky. Every rainbow you have ever seen is really a full circle of light. From the ground, it always looks like an arc, a bright bridge that fades into the fields on either side. But that is only because the earth beneath your feet cuts the rest of it away. Each raindrop catches a ray of sunlight, bends it, and splits it into its colors, sending them back at a soft and particular angle. So the whole shape forms a perfect ring around the point directly opposite the sun. It's like a coin resting half sunk in still water, with only its upper edge left showing. From high in an airplane, with nothing below to hide it, a traveler can sometimes see the entire circle, complete and quietly glowing. Just as the sun slips beneath the sea, a brief spark of green can appear at its final edge. It's a rare thing, needing a clear, flat horizon and patient eyes, and it lasts no longer than a single breath. Our air acts like a gentle lens, bending sunlight and spreading its colors ever so slightly apart. And green is the shade that lingers a heartbeat longer at the very last sliver of the sun. It's like the final note of a song held just a moment after you thought it had ended. Those who chase it wait through many ordinary sunsets for that one soft flash of green. The magnetic north you would follow with a compass is always slowly drifting. Deep in the earth, an ocean of molten iron churns and flows, and that restless motion is what raises the great magnetic field wrapped around our world. Over long ages, the field weakens, wanders, and now and then it turns over entirely, so that north becomes south and south becomes north, a reversal written faintly into ancient rock. It's like a slow tide beneath the crust, quietly changing which way it leans. No one can yet say exactly when the next turning will come. Perhaps someone drifting towards sleep to words like these will one day help us learn to read the signs. On Mars, the sunset does not glow red as ours does, but a soft and dusty blue. It's the mirror image of what we know, and it comes down to the fine grains of dust that hang throughout that thin, cold air. Those tiny particles scatter the warm colors of sunlight across the whole daytime sky, so that when the sun finally sinks, a cool blue halo gathers close around it. It's like watching our own evenings turn gently inside out. Somewhere on that quiet, rust-colored plain, a blue dusk is settling over the sand even now. The moon has spent ages keeping our seasons calm. Left entirely to itself, a spinning world can wobble on its axis over the long stretch of time, tipping now steeply, now barely at all. So its seasons swing between harsh extremes, but the moon's steady pull holds the earth close to its gentle slant, letting the seasons turn over in their mild and familiar order. It's like a hand resting lightly on a spinning top, keeping it from lurching too far one way or the other. So much of the softness of our year, the slow arrival of each season, we quietly owe to that pale companion overhead. The twinkling of the stars belongs to our own air, not to the stars themselves. Out in space, they burn with a steady, unwavering light, but by the time that light reaches your eyes, it has passed through layer upon layer of moving air, warm and cool currents that bend and nudge each ray a little this way and that. So the point of light seems to shiver and dance, while the planets, showing us a tiny disk rather than a single point, hold much more still. It's like looking up at a candle through the shimmer rising off a warm road. I'll admit, I still love knowing that all that sparkle is really the work of our own gentle sky. On a slender crescent moon, the shadowed part often glows with the faintest silver light. You might have noticed it and never quite named it, that ghost of a full circle cradled inside the bright sliver. What you are seeing is sunlight, that has bounced off the Earth, crossed the space between, and softly lit the moon's night side. Light passed along twice before it reaches you. It's like a darkened room warmed by the glow of a candle caught in a mirror. On those nights, the moon is quietly showing us the light of our own world, reflected gently back. The moon looks larger when it rests near the horizon, though it never truly changes size at all. Rising behind distant hills or rooftops, it can seem to swell into something grand, only to shrink again as it climbs the open sky. Yet measure it carefully, low or high, and it is exactly the same, a small and constant disk. This is a trick played entirely within the mind, one we still do not fully understand. Some quiet confusion in how we judge distance and size. It's like two identical shapes that our eyes insist on seeing differently. Even after all our science, the moon on the horizon can still gently fool us. The edge of space is closer than many of the towns down the road from you. We tend to imagine it impossibly far, but travel straight up rather than across, and the air thins away with surprising speed. At roughly 100 kilometers overhead lies the line many call the boundary of space, where the atmosphere fades to almost nothing, and the sky turns from blue to black. It's like a shoreline standing on end. The whole ocean of air only as deep as a short morning drive. The wide, breathable world we live inside is a thin and precious skin wrapped around the stone. The highest clouds of all shine softly, long after the sun has set. Most clouds you know drift low, but near the very edge of the air, far above the weather, delicate wisps of ice can form on the finest specks of dust. They float so high that when the ground below has already fallen into darkness, they still catch the light of the vanished sun and glow a pale electric blue. It's like the last embers of a fire, seen from far across a darkened field. On certain summer nights, in the deepening twilight, they hang there quietly, lit by a sun no one on the ground can see anymore. Time runs a little faster at your head than it does at your feet. It sounds impossible, and the difference is far too small to ever feel. But it is real, and it has been measured. Gravity gently slows the passing of time, and its pull is very slightly weaker the farther you are from the center of the Earth. So a clock lifted higher ticks a touch more quickly than one resting on the floor. It's like a river flowing a hair faster near the surface than down in its bed. As you lie there now, your head is drifting through a slightly quicker stream of time than your toes, and neither will ever notice. Our sun is not truly yellow, but white. We grow up drawing it golden, and near the horizon it does turn warm and amber, yet that color is borrowed from our own air. The sun pours out light of every shade all at once, and mixed together that light is simply white. When it hangs low, the atmosphere scatters away much of the blue, and only the warmer colors reach us, painting the sun gold. It's like clear water that only looks blue when it gathers in great depth. Seen from space, with no air to tint it, our star burns a plain and steady white. A pale ring of light sometimes circles the moon on a hazy night. It's a wide, gentle halo, holding the moon at its center with a soft, dark gap between. High above, a thin veil of cloud made of tiny ice crystals catches the moonlight and bends it, spreading it into that quiet ring. It's like breath fogging softly around a single lamp on a cold evening. Country folk long said such a ring meant rain was on its way, and often enough, they were right. for those high icy clouds can drift ahead of a coming change in the weather. The seas rise and fall twice within a single day. It is the moon's gentle pull that lifts them, drawing the water up into a soft bulge on the side of the earth facing it, and by the same patient stretching, a second bulge gathers on the far side as well, so that as our world turns beneath these swells, most shores meet two high tides and two low. The sun adds its own quieter tug, swelling the tides higher when the two pulls align. It's like a great, slow breath the ocean takes, in and out, in and out. Twice each day, without hurry, the whole sea leans toward the sky and settles back again. Our year does not divide neatly into whole days. We like to say a year is 365 days. But the Earth actually takes about 365 and a quarter days to round the sun just once. Those leftover quarters would slowly slide our calendar out of step with the seasons. So every 4 years, we gather them up and fold in a single extra day. It's like saving loose coins in a jar until they quietly add up to something whole. That small kindness to the calendar is why, once in a while, February carries a 29th day. Nothing in all the universe outruns a beam of light. It moves so swiftly, it can circle the whole Earth many times in a single second. And as far as we can tell, this is the one true speed limit woven into the fabric of things. It isn't a wall or a barrier to strain against, but something gentler and deeper, a rule built into space and time themselves, the pace at which the universe allows its news to travel. It's like the tempo of a song that everything, everywhere, must quietly keep. So every ray reaching you tonight has come at the fastest pace the cosmos permits, and not a moment sooner. You are turning fastest of all if you happen to stand at the equator. The whole planet spins once each day, carrying every one of us along with it. Yet not all of us travel the same distance. Near the middle of the Earth, the ground has the farthest to go in that single turn, sweeping along at more than 1,600 kilometers each hour. While close to the poles, it barely moves at all. It's like the outer edge of a slowly turning wheel, racing while the center only drifts. Wherever you are resting right now, the Earth is carrying you eastward into the coming dawn, smoothly and without the faintest sound. A total eclipse of the sun happens by the quietest of coincidences. The sun is about 400 times wider than the moon, yet it also sits about 400 times farther away. And so, from where we stand, the two appear almost exactly the same size in the sky. When their paths line up just so, the little moon slides in front of the great sun and covers it whole, letting the pale crown of the sun's outer light shine out for a few soft minutes at midday. It's like a small coin held at arm's length, hiding a distant lantern behind it. This gentle match won't last forever, for the moon is easing away from us across the ages, and one far day, these perfect coverings will fade to a thin ring instead. There's no need to hurry though. For now, the fit is nearly perfect, and that alone feels like a small kindness. When the Earth's shadow falls across the moon, it does not go black, but turns a soft, dusky copper. We might expect the moon to simply vanish into the dark, slipping quietly out of sight. Instead, a little sunlight still reaches it, bending as it grazes the edge of our world and passing through the whole ring of our atmosphere before it lands on the far lunar face. The blues are scattered away along that long journey, so only the warm red survived to paint the moon. It's as though every sunrise and every sunset happening on Earth at that moment were gathered up and cast gently onto the sky. In a way, a reddened moon is wearing the color of all our dawns at once. Venus turns upon itself the wrong way round, slowly and against the grain. Nearly every world in our neighborhood spins in the same direction as it circles the sun, so we might assume Venus would do the same. But this cloud-wrapped planet rotates backward, so gently that a single turn takes longer than its entire year. And if you could stand beneath those thick golden skies, you would see the sun rise in the west and set in the east. It's like a music box wound the opposite way, still playing, only in reverse. No one is quite certain what tipped Venus into this slow and stubborn spin, and that lingering mystery has its own soft charm. Mercury hurries around the sun faster than any other world. Being the closest planet, it has the shortest road to travel, and it does not linger. It completes a full circuit of the sun in only about 88 of our days, racing along its tight little orbit, while the outer planets drift through their far slower years. It's like the innermost horse on a carousel, sweeping around again and again before the outer ones have finished a single pass. So while a year on Earth feels long and full, on tiny Mercury, 4 such years would already have come and gone. The asteroid belt is far emptier and calmer than the picture suggests. Between Mars and Jupiter drifts a wide band of rocky leftovers, and it's easy to imagine a crowded, tumbling field of stone. In truth, these pieces are spread across such an enormous ring of space that they hardly ever meet. And if you stood upon one, you might not see another with your bare eyes at all. It's like a handful of sand scattered across an ocean, each grain wandering alone. The belt is less a rubble field and more a great, quiet hall, where a few travelers pass at a distance, keeping their own gentle company. Out among those drifting rocks floats a small round world named Ceres. Most of the belt is made of lumpy, irregular stones, so we might not expect to find anything shaped like a proper planet out there. Yet Ceres is large enough, at nearly 1,000 kilometers across, for its own gravity to have pulled it into a soft sphere, and it holds within it a great deal of frozen water, perhaps even a briny layer hidden beneath its crust. It's like a still, pale pearl resting among plain gray pebbles. Small as it is, it carries the quiet dignity of a little world all its own. Halley's Comet keeps a long and faithful appointment with our skies. Comets can seem like fleeting visitors, here one night and gone. But this one returns on a rhythm we can almost set our lives by. It swings in from the cold outer dark, rounds the sun, and sweeps away again, coming back to grace our nights only about once every 76 years. It's like an old friend who visits just once in a lifetime, so that most of us meet it a single time, if at all. Somewhere out in the deep cold now, it is already turning slowly homeward, patient and unhurried, keeping its ancient promise. That soft band of light we call the Milky Way is simply our own galaxy, seen from the inside. On a truly dark night, a pale river of glow stretches across the sky, and it can feel like something apart from us, painted onto the heavens. But we live within a great flattened disk of hundreds of billions of stars, and when we look along the plane of that disk, we are gazing edge-on into its crowded depths, so many distant suns blurring together into a single misty stream. It's like standing inside a wide, slow whirlpool and seeing its farthest reaches smear into light. Every faint grain of that glow is a sun, and we are simply looking out from somewhere along the shore. The constellations are gentle illusions, drawn by distance rather than nearness. We picture the stars of a familiar shape as neighbors, clustered together in one small corner of space. Yet the stars that form a single figure often lie at wildly different depths, some near and some staggeringly far, only happening to fall along the same line as we look outward. It's like seeing a nearby candle and a faraway street lamp side by side and imagining they share the same windowsill. The patterns are real to our eyes and dear to our stories, even as the stars themselves drift, unknowing, at their own vast and separate distances. Sirius, the brightest star in all our night sky, is also one of our nearer neighbors. Its steady silver-white shine can make it seem impossibly grand, a beacon set high above the winter dark. Part of that brilliance is simply its own strong light, but part is nearness, for it lies only about 8.5 light years away, close as such things go. It's like the nearest lamp along a long dark road, outshining far greater lights that happen to sit much farther off. So the soft glimmer landing at your window on a clear night left that star only about 8 years ago, a message barely aged before it reached your resting eyes. Saturn wears a six-sided storm at the top of its world. We tend to picture storms as round, swirling, shapeless things. But around Saturn's North Pole, the winds trace a strange and steady figure with 6 clean edges. This lasting shape seems to come from the way bands of wind of different speeds flow past one another, folding the boundary between them into a calm and repeating pattern, wide enough to swallow several Earths. It's like the quiet hexagons that form in a honeycomb, order emerging on its own from simple flowing rules. Saturn has kept this gentle geometry spinning for as long as we have had the eyes to watch it. Mars holds a canyon so long it would stretch across a whole continent. Its tallest mountain has its own fame, but the great gash in its surface is just as remarkable. This vast canyon system runs for more than 4,000 kilometers along the planet's face, and in places it plunges far deeper than any valley on Earth, likely opened long ago as the crust stretched and split. It's like a single crack reaching from one coast of a country clear to the other. Seen from above, it looks like a long, still scar left by an ancient chieftain, resting now in the pink Martian quiet. A single day on the moon lasts about as long as one of our months. On Earth, we are used to the sun crossing the sky in a matter of hours. But the moon turns very slowly upon itself, because it rotates just once in the same time it takes to circle us. Any spot on its surface spends roughly 2 weeks bathed in unbroken sunlight, then 2 weeks resting in shadow before the light returns. It's like an extraordinarily long, unhurried afternoon that fades into an equally patient night. To stand there would be to watch the sun creep across the sky so slowly it seems almost to hang still. The gentle tilt of the Earth is what gives us our seasons. It is easy to think that summer's warmth must come from the Earth drawing nearer to the sun. But that is not the reason at all. Our world leans on its axis by a little over 23 degrees. And as we travel our yearly path, first one half of the planet tips toward the sun, and then the other, spreading the light more fully or more thinly across the ground. It's like tilting a page toward a lamp, so it catches more of the glow at one angle than another. From that small, steady, lean flow, all our springs and winters, our harvests, and our long summer evenings. Twice each year, day and night fall into an even balance. Most of the time, one is longer than the other, the light stretching out in summer and shrinking back in winter. But as the Earth swings through the two turning points of its journey, there come moments when neither pole leans toward the sun nor away, and nearly everywhere on Earth receives close to equal parts of light and dark. It's like a great slow scale coming to rest for a single, level breath before tipping the other way. These are the quiet hinges of the year, the calm midpoints between the long days and the long nights. The planets nearly all travel along one wide, flat plane. We might imagine their orbits scattered every which way through space, tilted at all angles around the sun. Instead, they move like markings on a great level disk, circling in almost the same shared sheet, because they were born together from a single spinning cloud of gas and dust that long ago settled into a flattened ring. It's like leaves drifting on the surface of one still pond, rather than tumbling loose through open air. That is why, from Earth, the wandering planets always trace the same narrow road across our sky, following one another along a single gentle line. Jupiter's 4 largest moons can be glimpsed with nothing more than a steady pair of binoculars. These worlds might seem the private treasure of great observatories, hidden far beyond ordinary sight. Yet they are bright enough and wide enough in their swing around the giant planet that even a modest lens will show them as tiny points of light, shifting their places from one night to the next. It's like seeing 4 small lanterns strung out beside a far brighter one, quietly changing their arrangement as the evenings pass. The same little dance was watched long ago by Galileo, and it can still be traced today by anyone who simply looks up with patience. Far beyond Neptune lies a broad ring of icy worlds resting in the cold. We often think of Neptune as the outer edge of things, the last stop before empty space, but past it stretches a wide belt of frozen bodies, thousands upon thousands of them, drifting slowly through the deep twilight, where the sun is little more than a bright star. Pluto is one of the larger among them, keeping company with countless smaller kin. It's like a distant, snow-scattered shore lying quietly beyond the last warm harbor. Out there, in that hushed and glittering ring, the light is faint, the motion is slow, and the long years pass in perfect peace. A quiet rain of cosmic dust is always falling on the Earth. We stand on what feels like a solid, unchanging world. Yet from above, day and night, a gentle sprinkle of tiny grains drifts down through the atmosphere, settling so lightly we never notice. These are the scattered remains of comets that passed long ago, and the dust of asteroids broken by slow collisions far away. Each speck is smaller than a grain of sand. They fall like the softest snow, invisible and patient. Over the course of a year, the Earth gathers thousands of tons of this quiet gift from space. It's a reminder that even now, as you rest, the sky is touching the ground with the gentlest hands. Almost every heavier element was forged in the heart of a star. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen you breathe. None of these things existed at the beginning. They were made inside the blazing cores of ancient suns, where the crushing weight and impossible heat pressed lighter atoms together into heavier ones, step by patient step. Hydrogen became helium, helium became carbon, carbon became oxygen, and so on, all the way up to iron. It took millions of years and the lives of countless stars. Everything solid you have ever touched was once burning in the heart of a star. You are made of old light, shaped into matter and set gently down on this small world. When a great star dies, it scatters its riches across space. After all that long work of building heavier elements in its core, the star finally exhausts its fuel and collapses. Then it explodes, flinging its newly forged materials outward in a vast, glowing wave. Those scattered elements drift through the dark for ages, mixing with clouds of gas and dust. Eventually, they gather again, drawn together by their own gentle pull, and become part of new stars, new worlds, new life. It's the universe's way of sharing what it has learned. Nothing is wasted. Everything returns and begins again. Some of the gold in the world was born when two dead stars embraced. Iron is as far as an ordinary star can go. To make the even heavier elements, gold, platinum, uranium, requires something more violent and brief. When two neutron stars spiral inward and collide, the impact releases a flood of energy and a storm of particles so intense that those final heaviest atoms are forged in a single bright moment. The gold in a wedding ring, the silver in a mirror, the rare metals hidden in the ground. They were all born in collisions like that, scattered across the galaxy and gathered slowly here. It's a strange and lovely thought. Even our treasures are the children of distant catastrophe, softened now and resting quietly in our hands. Some would-be stars never quite manage to shine. They gather from the same clouds as other stars, pulling in gas and dust and growing denser at the center. But if they are not massive enough, they never reach the crushing pressures needed to light the fire of fusion in their cores. They glow dimly for a while from the heat of their own collapse, then slowly fade. These are the brown dwarfs, neither true stars nor quite planets, drifting through the dark in a quiet in-between. It's like a candle that never quite caught flame. They are patient, invisible, and more common than we once believed. The galaxy is full of them, waiting softly in the spaces between the brighter lights. On Neptune and Uranus, it may well rain diamonds. Deep beneath the pale clouds of these distant worlds, the crushing weight and the strange chemistry of their interiors may break apart molecules of methane, freeing carbon to drift downward and crystallize under immense pressure. If the conditions are right, those tiny crystals would fall like glittering hail through layers of fluid we cannot see, sinking toward cores we will never touch. It's one of those ideas that sounds like a fairy tale, but rests on careful calculations and what we know of those faraway places. Out there, in the cold and the silence, a slow storm of jewels may be falling even now. On other worlds, stranger weather still drifts through the skies. There are planets where the rain is made of molten glass, blown sideways by winds faster than the speed of sound. There are moons where methane drizzles down like our own rain and gathers in quiet lakes. There are worlds wrapped in clouds of sulfuric acid, and others where iron vapor condenses into metallic snow. Each one is shaped by its distance from its star, the makeup of its air, and the patient rules of chemistry and heat. It's a reminder that weather is not one thing, but 1,000 things, each tuned to its world. even the strangest sky obeys a kind of order and follows its own slow rhythm. Water is scattered far more widely than we once believed. For a long time, it seemed a rare and precious thing, perhaps unique to Earth. Now we find it frozen at the poles of the Moon and Mercury. We find it locked in the rocks of Mars and floating as vapor in the clouds of Venus. We find vast oceans hidden beneath the ice of distant moons and water streaming from the tails of comets. It turns out that water is one of the simplest things the universe makes. Just hydrogen and oxygen, two of the most common elements, joined together. It's everywhere, waiting patiently in the cold or the dark, ready to gather and flow when the conditions allow. We are not so alone in that. Deep in some clouds of space float molecules that would almost smell sweet. These great drifting nebulae, lit softly by distant stars, are not empty. They are full of chemistry. Among the simpler gases, scientists have found traces of more complex molecules. Ethyl formate, which carries the scent of raspberries and rum, and others that hint at almonds or even vanilla. These are not flavors, of course, just patterns of atoms that happen to match the ones our noses recognize. But it's a strange and gentle thought. Out there in the dark, between the stars, the raw ingredients of something almost like sweetness are drifting slowly through the void. The galaxies are far more numerous than anyone once imagined. 100 years ago, we thought our own Milky Way was the whole universe, and the faint smudges of light scattered across the sky were simply clouds within it. Then we built larger telescopes and looked more carefully, and those smudges revealed themselves as entire galaxies, each one home to billions of stars. The more we looked, the more we found. Now we believe there are at least 200 billion galaxies in the observable universe, and perhaps many more beyond the edge of what we can see. It's like opening a door and finding not one room, but an endless city of rooms, each one vast and filled with light. Galaxies drift through space in a handful of quiet shapes. Some are flat spirals, like ours, with arms that curl outward from a glowing core. Others are smooth and rounded, shaped like softly glowing eggs with no clear structure inside. Still others are small and scattered, their stars arranged in no particular pattern at all. These shapes are not random. They tell the story of how the galaxy formed, how often it has collided with others, how much gas it still holds to make new stars. A spiral is young and active. An ellipse is older, calmer, its star-making days mostly behind it. Each shape is a kind of portrait, painted slowly by gravity and time. The great elliptical galaxies are among the calmest places of all. They hold ancient stars, red and cool, drifting in slow, random orbits with no shared direction. There are no bright young stars, no glowing clouds of gas, no spiral arms tracing paths through the dark. Everything is settled. It's like a city long after the builders have gone, where the lights still burn, but nothing new is being made. These galaxies are enormous, often far larger than our own, and they rest at the centers of the great clusters, holding court in silence. They have already lived most of their lives. What remains is a long, patient fading, soft and without haste. The night sky is dark, and that darkness carries a quiet meaning of its own. You might think that with so many stars, so many galaxies scattered in every direction, the whole sky should blaze with light. And for a long time, that puzzle troubled the people who studied the heavens. If the universe went on forever, filled endlessly with suns, then every line your eye followed should end on the surface of a star, and the night should glow as bright as day. But it does not. The night is soft and dark and gentle. The reason is that the universe had a beginning, and it is growing. The light of the most distant stars has not yet had time to reach us, and much of it has been stretched into wavelengths our eyes cannot see. So the darkness between the stars is not empty of meaning. It is the shape of time itself, written across the sky. It is a reminder that even the dark has something patient to say. The universe has no edge that you could ever travel to and touch. When we speak of the observable universe, we mean only the part whose light has had time to reach us since the beginning. Beyond that lies more, and beyond that, very likely, more still. But there is no wall out there, no final shore where everything simply stops. Space does not end in a cliff or a fence. It may curve gently back upon itself, or it may stretch on without limit. But nowhere is there a place you could stand and say, "Here is the last of it." It is a little like walking across the surface of a great smooth sphere, always moving, never once reaching an edge. And so the universe holds us without ever hemming us in, vast and open and quietly unbounded. You are sitting at the very center of everything you can see. This is true for you, and it is true for every other watcher on every other world, all at once. The observable universe is a great sphere of light, and each of us rests at the middle of our own. Wherever you happen to be, the oldest light arrives from every direction equally, gathering around you like the walls of a softly glowing room. Move a little, and the sphere moves with you, still centered on wherever you rest. There is no single middle of the cosmos, no privileged place where things truly begin. Instead, there are countless centers, one for every pair of open eyes. Tonight, in your bed, beneath your blanket, you are the middle of a universe all your own. It is a gentle kind of importance, quiet and shared and yours. The color of all the light in the universe mixed together is a soft and creamy beige. Astronomers once took the light of many thousands of galaxies and gently blended it, the way you might stir every color of paint into a single pool to find the average shade of the cosmos. They half expected something dramatic, a deep blue perhaps, or a fiery gold. What they found instead was a pale, warm, milky tone, a little like weak tea softened with cream. It carries the balance of all the young blue stars and all the old red ones, averaged across the ages. Somewhere between the fresh and the fading, the universe settles on a color as calm as morning. It is the shade of everything at once, quiet and kind. Space itself is cold, but never quite as cold can be. Far from any star, in the deepest gulfs between the galaxies, there is still a faint warmth left over from long ago, spread evenly through all of space. It is only a few degrees above the very bottom of the temperature scale, the point where all motion would cease entirely. Yet it is there, in every direction, a soft and steady hum of heat, too gentle to feel. The whole universe rests within it, wrapped in this thin, even warmth, like a blanket worn nearly to nothing. Nothing anywhere is perfectly, absolutely cold. Even the emptiest dark keeps a little glow of warmth, patient and unbroken. Space is quietly growing larger, Yet the things that love one another stay close. Every corner of the universe is stretching, the great distances between galaxies slowly widening as the ages pass. And yet the Earth does not drift from the sun. The moon does not slip away in a rush. Our galaxy does not come undone. Wherever gravity has taken a firm and gentle hold, it holds still, keeping its own together against the widening of everything else. The stretching happens only out in the wide, empty reaches, where nothing pulls back. It is a little like a slow tide that lifts the open sea, but leaves the harbor calm. The universe grows, and still our small neighborhood stays gathered close, unhurried and unbroken. In the far distance of time, the most remote galaxies will slip quietly from our sight. As space keeps stretching, the space between us and those faraway islands of stars grows faster and faster, until their light can no longer make the crossing. One by one, over unimaginable spans of years, they will fade from view, not by dying, but simply by drifting beyond reach. There is nothing frightening in this. It happens so slowly that 100 human lifetimes would notice nothing at all. The sky we love will look the same for longer than we can picture. It is only the gentlest of goodbyes, spread so thin across time that it feels almost like stillness. What remains near will remain near, held close and warm. The universe is very likely far larger than the part we can see. The observable region is bounded only by the speed of light and the age of everything. A sphere as wide as light has had time to travel. But the true whole may stretch on far beyond that soft horizon, larger than we have any way to measure. Some who study these things believe it may be unimaginably vast, perhaps without any end at all. What we can see is only the small lit circle around a traveler's lantern, while the countryside rolls on unseen in every direction. And somehow that thought is a comforting one. There is always more out there than we will ever need to hold, waiting quietly past the edge of the known. Even the emptiest space is never perfectly still. If you could take a small pocket of the void and remove every last star, every speck of dust, every stray particle of light, you would still not find true nothingness. At the very finest scale, empty space hums with a faint and restless motion, tiny flickers rising and settling too quickly to ever catch. The vacuum is not a blank. It is a soft, trembling sea, forever murmuring to itself in the dark. It is like the surface of a pond that looks perfectly smooth from a distance, yet shivers with the smallest ripples when you lean in close. Nothing, it seems, is ever entirely empty. Even the void keeps a quiet company with itself. The distances between the stars are so vast that we measure them in the travel of light. A single beam moves faster than anything else there is, and still, it takes years to cross from one star to the next. So we speak of light years, the distance light covers in a whole slow circuit of our world around the sun. The nearest stars lie a handful of these away. The far side of our galaxy lies tens of thousands. When you look up at a familiar star, you are seeing light that set out on its journey years, sometimes centuries ago. The sky is a gathering of old letters, each one arriving long after it was sent. And we read them all at once, quietly, from the comfort of a single night. Not far from us, a small red star races across the sky faster than any other. It is a quiet, dim little sun, one of our nearer neighbors. And though it drifts through space like all the rest, From our vantage, it seems almost to hurry. Over a human lifetime, a careful watcher could see it shift its place against the stars behind it. A slow and steady crawl where everything else seems fixed. It is old and cool and unhurried in itself, and will go on burning its faint ember for longer than almost anything else in the sky. It is like a lone walker crossing a still field at dusk, small and calm, yet always quietly moving. Even the steadfast heavens, it turns out, are gently on the move. Space and time are not two separate things, but woven together into one soft fabric. We are used to thinking of space as the stage and time as the ticking clock behind it, yet they belong to each other, bound so closely that neither makes full sense alone. A great mass gently curves this fabric, and that curve is what we feel as gravity, drawing things together along its slopes. The faster you move through space, the more slowly your time unfolds. They lean on one another, always, trading back and forth. It is like a single smooth cloth, where a pull on one corner ripples softly through the whole. The universe is not a room with a clock on the wall. It is one gentle, seamless weave of where and when. Our whole small family of galaxies is drifting toward a distant gathering place. The Milky Way, Andromeda, and all their little companions are being drawn ever so gently in one shared direction, pulled by the weight of something vast and far away. It is part of a still greater web of galaxies, a broad and flowing supercluster, and everything within it leans slowly toward the denser regions at its heart. This journey is unimaginably slow, unfolding over billions of years, softer than the drift of a cloud across an afternoon. We do not feel it. We could never feel it. Yet even now, we are quietly falling together, our whole neighborhood of stars carried along one unhurried current in the dark. The shape of space itself appears to be remarkably flat. When we speak of shape here, we mean the way space curves on the very largest scales, whether the paths of light bend inward or outward or run true. Measured with great care across enormous distances, the universe seems to lie almost perfectly level, the way a still pond lies flat beneath a windless sky. Parallel beams of light, sent out side by side, would travel on together without ever meeting or drifting apart. Why it should be so exquisitely balanced is a question that still turns quietly in many minds. But the answer we find when we measure is a kind of calm evenness, a great smooth stillness underlying everything. The cosmos, on its grandest scale, is a settled and level thing. The far future of the universe is a long, gentle quiet. Over spans of time so vast that our numbers grow tired trying to hold them, the stars will slowly finish their burning. The bright young suns will fade first. Then the smaller, cooler ones, patient as they are, will linger for trillions of years before they too grow dim. And then at last, the sky will settle into a soft and lasting dark, warm with the faint embers of what came before. There is nothing fearful in this. It is not an ending so much as a resting, the universe finally lying down after its long and luminous day. Everything that ever shone will have shone, and the great stillness that follows will be peaceful, unhurried, and complete. The universe, for all its long story, is still remarkably young. We speak so easily of billions of years that they begin to sound like an ending, yet nearly all of the cosmos still lies ahead. The stars we see tonight are among the very first generations to shine, and the great sweep of time that follows will dwarf everything that has come before. The bright era we live in, full of suns and warmth and light, is only the opening breath of a far longer quiet. It is like waking early in a house still dark, when the whole day is yet to come. There is comfort in that, I think. We are not living in the twilight of things. We are here in the soft early morning of the universe, when the light is new. The hydrogen inside you is nearly as old as time itself. Every breath you take carries atoms that were made in the first few minutes after the beginning, long before there were stars or planets or nights like this one. Those tiny particles drifted through the dark for ages, gathered into clouds, passed through the hearts of suns, and somehow, after all of that wandering, they came to rest in you. The water you drank today holds some of the oldest things that exist. It is as though the universe folded its earliest memory quietly into your body. And so, resting here, you are not separate from that ancient beginning. You are one of the places where it is still gently unfolding. Almost nothing in the universe is ever truly lost. Energy does not vanish. It only shifts from one soft form into another. Warmth becoming light, light becoming motion, motion settling at last into a faint and even glow. The atoms that once burned inside a star do not disappear when the star is gone. They scatter and drift and gather again into something new. Nothing is wasted and nothing is thrown away. It is like a long, slow tide that carries everything forward without ever spilling a drop. Whatever fades here tends to reappear, changed, somewhere far away and long from now. The cosmos keeps its riches, endlessly passing them from hand to gentle hand. The night sky you see is a patient gift. Every point of light above you left its home long ago and traveled the quiet dark for years or centuries or ages, only to arrive at your eyes on this particular evening. Some of those stars have already changed. A few may no longer shine at all. Yet their light still comes, faithful and unhurried, keeping an appointment made long before you were born. When you look up, you are not seeing the sky as it is, but as it was, a soft gathering of old messages finally reaching their destination. It is a kindness the universe offers without knowing it. And it asks nothing of you but to look. Everything, at the last, drifts gently toward rest. All the motion of the cosmos, all the spinning worlds and streaming ones and turning galaxies, tends slowly over unthinkable spans toward a deep and even calm. This is not a sadness. It is simply the way of things, the great settling that follows every long day of light. The universe is learning, in its own slow time, how to be still, and there is a quiet beauty in that, the same beauty you feel when a room grows warm and dim, and the noise of the day finally softens. We are all stars and worlds, and sleepers alike, moving toward the same peaceful hush. There is nothing to fear in it. There is only rest. And so, having wandered so far, we begin to make our way home. We have drifted through a great deal together tonight. We floated past a moon that is slowly stealing away, and days that grow a little longer with every turning. We fell together with our whole small family of galaxies, drawn toward a distant gathering place we will never quite reach. We watched space and time fold into one soft cloth, felt the universe lying almost perfectly level beneath us, and looked ahead to a far future that is not an ending, but a long and gentle quiet. From the crumbs of comets to the oldest light of all, we have crossed a great deal of the dark and found it kinder than we expected. And here is the tender part, the thing worth carrying with you as you fall. You are made of all of this. The iron in your blood was forged in the furnace of some ancient star. The oxygen that fills you now was shaped in explosions long before the Earth was born. The very atoms that hold you together were scattered across space by dying suns, and drifted, and settled, and became you. You are not a small thing looking up at a vast universe. You are the universe, grown quiet and warm and aware, resting for a while in the shape of a person. Everything out there in the dark is also, somehow, in here, breathing slowly beneath your blankets. Even now, as you lie still, all of it continues. The earth turns softly beneath you. The moon drifts a hair's breadth farther. Sunlight that left its star ages ago is still crossing the dark to find some sleeping world. Galaxies lean toward one another across distances too wide for words, and the whole gentle weave of space and time holds you exactly where you belong. You do not have to do anything to be part of it. You already are. You always were. If you happen to still be awake, there's no need to stir. You can simply let the next quiet chapter carry you on from here. One more soft journey through the dark, waiting to hold you a little longer. And if you'd like to drift off to more journeys like this one, softly told, you might consider subscribing before you go. There's always more night sky to wander, and I'd be glad to guide you through it, one sleepy soul at a time. So let your shoulders soften now, and let the last of the day slip away. You are held by something ancient and gentle, and it asks nothing of you tonight. May your sleep be deep and warm and free of every weight you carried in. May the stars keep their slow watch while you rest, and may you wake in your own good time to a softer and a lighter morning. Sleep well, traveler. Good night.